The stain itself was contaminated with cat urine.
Whenever the cats would, if they missed their litter box or they went on the carpet, my mother and I were always there to clean up. We cleaned it up immediately. There left no stains.
I never smelled a cat smell in the place.
Cat stained urine. If you'd like to smell it.
My baby,
That's completely unreasonable.
If you want to fight, I can get you boxing gloves, but we're not here for that. My first case ever with worms.
Come here, Sophie. Get him, Rusty.
Can I say something?
No. If she hadn't had an oral agreement, how do you do? You're suing the defendants because they damaged your property?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. What was your relationship with them?
They were our tenants. They leased our property 2 years ago.
You have a copy of the lease?
Yes, sir. In fact, there are 2 copies. The second-year lease was reduced, and there's a letter that goes along with that.
Reduced by what?
$200, the monthly rent.
Okay.
They had requested and we
Is
accommodated.
that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What damage did you suffer?
I have a list for you, and I'd be happy to go through that for you.
Right.
First off, the lease continued through the month of June, and she did not pay the June rent, and that's $1,300.
Okay.
Next, when we came in to inspect the property, we found a stained area.
Where was the stained area?
Well, the main stained area was in the dining room, adjacent to the living room, and I have pictures for you to see here. We had received the name of her carpet cleaner, and I contacted them, and they said that she had told them that it was due to furniture and rust stains because of El Nino storms and backup and flooding on the porch. I have a copy of that. We hired her firm to come out to actually pull up the carpeting, like that picture shows there, and they actually showed that, and this is a better copy to read, that when they pulled it up, they found that, one, the stain itself was contaminated with cat urine, and secondly, the stain itself was so far removed from the other stain where the actual water damage happened from the flood.
You have 2 cats?
Yes.
To further go along with that, sir, we did our due diligence and turned it into our insurance company, our renter's insurance, and State Farm Insurance Company actually classified this as vandalism. That's how they categorized it, and they paid on it.
Did you know that they had cats?
Yes, sir. It's in the lease.
Okay. Did you see these? You see what the carpet people said?
Yes, I had the carpet people in and I showed them the stain, and the stain itself, if you look at it, it's square, and that's where our computer stand sat on the floor, and there was standing water on the patio. It was 8 inches of standing water in the patio.
The inspector says that it was due to urine contamination.
Well, the rug cleaner said that it was from the particle board.
No, here it is. Have you seen this?
No, I mean, I saw, I
well,
didn't
take a look at
review.
it. Take a look at it, see what they say.
Also, Judge, I took fibers out of there, and these are stained and cat-stained urine. If you'd like to smell it.
Oh, I'd love to.
It's here for you.
Oh, yeah. You know why he's giving me a dirty look? Because I'm going to ask him to smell it. All right, come on. It's part of my job. I guess I'll do it. Come on, Rusty, give it to me. I wouldn't ask you to do that. It's not as bad as I thought, but it does.
If you heat it up a little bit, fibers sweat.
I'd rather not.
And it gets.
I'd rather not even heat it up.
Okay.
That's enough.
So,
have you smelled this?
I saw it earlier, Your Honor.
Oh, I didn't ask you if you saw it. I said just
Well,
smell
yes,
it.
we did open it. We saw it and we opened it, yes, when we saw the corresponding
Ma'am, you keep
evidence.
saying I saw it.
I did smell it.
Thank you. That's all I want to know. What do you think it smelled like?
Okay, I didn't think it was as strong as cat urine can be. Now, what we did is when we saw the stain, when we picked up our computer thing, when we were moving, and by the way, Judge, this was a forced move. We didn't move by our, it was, we were asked to move because he was selling the place.
You're seeking $1,300 for rental?
yes, sir. And
In addition, the $500 deductible you had to pay?
yes, sir. Also, according to the lease, if you look on both of them, it was agreed that the house would be fumigated. Now, as I say, things aren't in writing, and this is between her and me, and if you want to discount it, that's fine. But we were talking in terms of flea busters coming in to do it. The flea buster fee for fumigating a home is $210. Her idea of fumigating is putting out a couple cans of Raid Pop-Up. and she's got those receipts.
Did you
We saw
talk
the
about
other-
fumigating the place?
I talked about having it flea controlled, and I did have that included in my rug cleaning, and I also set off foggers in all of the rooms before we left.
Actually,
I did
Judge,
not want to go through,
You've got pictures there. Do you want me to see?
yes.
Judge Wapner, also on the lease itself, it says fumigation, not pest control. They're very clear. We also have a few other damages, sir.
What are the damages?
The damages are that we called her on June 2nd and said, "Where's your rent?" And she said, "Well, you're going to use my security deposit for the rent. I'm not paying you." And I said, under the agreement, it wasn't first month, last month. It was first month and security deposit. I need to have your rent so that, and then if there is any damages, I can use the security deposit for that or send back any balance to you. She refused to do that. So we got an attorney who told us that we needed to take and do a declaration of service for notice to pay or quit.
Your Honor,
And I
I have
also
a
have
tape. I have a tape of everything because when I was going to move out, I also have bills that I have expenses where I incurred over $417 to clean up the place and leave it in the condition that I found it. I told the agent that I wanted him to do a walkthrough with me and I wanted to do it with people who would be outside witnesses, and he refused to come up and do a walkthrough. He told her, just get the keys, I will handle everything else and don't get involved.
All right, let's watch the tape. Tell us where this is and what.
This is the dining room area, Your Honor.
This is where the water
This is where he says that the water damage occurred, and this is where he says these spots on the.
Yeah, but you're not taking a
Well, I
picture.
didn't know when he was suing me for $5,000.
If you
I didn't know where
Wait,
anything.
one at a time.
Sorry.
I took a picture of everything because I did not know. I only took a snapshot, a Polaroid, which you have, and you can see that it is in a square. I mean, if you're going to have Cat doing something, it is usually in a puddle, and this is a square, and this is where the furniture actually died onto the carpet because the carpet cleaners told me if it was a pet stain, it would have come up with the way that he was cleaning it. He used special acids and everything on it to bring up the cleaning. We also used different stain removers.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
When the plaintiff called my mother to ask her, about moving out, he was yelling at her. She was shaking. I thought she might have a nervous breakdown or something, so she hung up the phone before she could, before she broke down. The plaintiff then called back, and neither of us answered, and he started to leave a message on the answering machine, which he was threatening. He was saying he was going to call the sheriff and kick us out in 3 days. I picked up the phone. I tried to calm him down.
I'm going to interrupt you because you're not telling me anything that's relevant. I want to know about any damage to the properties,
Yes.
specifically the carpeting, whether there's urine damage to that carpeting.
Okay. Whenever the cats would, if they missed their litter box or they went on the carpet, my mother and I were always there to clean up. We cleaned it up immediately. There left no stains that from the urine. The stains that you see are from water damage.
Let me see, you brought a witness with you.
Yes.
What is your name, ma'am?
Margit Laudermilk.
What do you know about damage to the property, particularly the carpeting?
She asked me to come and look at the place because she was very uncomfortable if she missed something. And I went through the place and said, "Oh, your carpet is already shampooed." She says, "No, we haven't shampooed the carpet yet. And it's an off-white carpet." And I said, "Judy, it looks very good."
Okay.
And I've been going to her place many times. I'm very sensitive with smells of cats or smells of dogs. I never smelled a cat smell in the place. They have.
You want to smell this piece of
Yeah,
carpet?
I already smelled it.
Oh, you
It does
did?
not look like it came from that carpet. I'm sorry. I don't mean
What
to
does it
point
smell
at you.
like?
It smells like cat pee.
Okay.
There is damage that existed there. It is not a brand new place. I only lived there 2 years. I left it in the condition that I found it in, and so did people who saw the place, and even two of his neighbors that he
Short
knew.
recess, I'll come back, give you my decision.
Just one last thing, Judge. I'm sorry. The one
You
neighbor.
caught me right in the middle
I'm
here.
sorry. The one neighbor who wrote the letter talks about the blind cleaner. He says that the other company is Regency. That's the company that came in and also found the cat urine. So it's a company that she used, but another division. So I used her people to come out and take a look at this. That's all I want to say.
I was aware of that.
Okay, thank you.
I met the other dog with this dog.
And I was pulling Sheila, walking along, and his came over and bit her.
She left and I left. I didn't see any wound. She didn't say there was any wound.
I said, put your dog on a leash, put your dog on a leash.
Remain seated and come to order. This court is again in session.
We have 2 lease agreements. They're both in writing. The plaintiff hired a carpet and upholstery cleaning company that used by the defendant. And that says the inspection included pulling up the carpet. Evidence from backing of carpet shows urine contamination in the stained area. Water damage stains did not reach. There is no evidence the flood caused. He meant caused, I guess. Caused the stain. So I don't think there's any question but what damages were done. The itemization given by the plaintiff seems plausible to me. My judgment, therefore, is for the plaintiff for $957.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, I think that this man is deceiving and vindictive in the way that he screamed on me on the phone. He has a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde personality, and I just feel sorry for the next tenant that leases from him.
Just typical of what's happened over the last 2 years. We're happy that the judge finished or ruled the way that he did. We're going to move on. We won't have to deal with her or her son professionally or personally in the future.
The judge didn't look at the right portions of the tape. He was completely deceiving in the 2 years.
I don't think he can be trusted to tell the truth. I really don't. I literally was shaking with the way he talked to me.
Okay. We won't put up with those type of lies.
No, I mean, he is. He's very overpowering and very vindictive because he has the place for sale or lease now. He threw us out, basically.
The Animal Court is now in session. The Honorable Joseph A. Wapner, Judge presiding.
I know you've both been sworn. I have read your complaint, ma'am. You claim that your dog was bitten by the defendant's dog?
Yes.
And what kind of dog did you have?
A Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Okay. You have a
I
picture
want-
of the dog?
Yes.
Yeah, I see it.
I would like to amend the damages I filed for. Those changed.
What do you want to amend for?
I didn't put in the court costs. I didn't realize
The
that they
what?
were supposed to. The court costs.
They're always added on.
Oh, they are.
Yes.
And then
If
there
you
was
win.
there was a vet bill that wasn't added on.
What was the vet bill?
It was $40.
Okay.
And
That's in addition to the 220?
$225.
Your
And-
complaint says 220.
Then you need to see the bills.
Well, she's looking for the. What is your dog, sir? What kind of dog is that?
It's a German Shepherd mixture.
Mixture of what?
I got him from the pound, so I really don't know.
Okay.
He wouldn't tell me.
Did you see what happened in this incident?
Yeah, I was with my dog.
Was the dog on a leash?
It was on a leash originally.
No,
and when-
not originally. Just before this happened, was
Right.
it on a leash?
Yes.
Pardon?
Yes, sir.
It was.
Yes.
What was the hesitation?
When I met the other dog with this dog,
Yes.
they lunged at each other, and he pulled the leash out of my hand. So it was on when I met them, and I had to pick it up and pull him away, and that's how they separated.
I see. Okay. Have you found it, ma'am?
Just use the new vet bill. This
Just
one.
use the new vet bill.
Yeah, the one that was eliminated at 40 is 225. And then there's an additional 35.
Have you seen this bill, sir?
Just recently in the other room, yes.
Okay. You have anything to say about the bill?
Concerning the bill, when I met Miss Perry the second time after the incident.
Let's just talk about the incident first.
Okay, when I pulled my dog away from her dog, she left and I left. I didn't see any wound. She didn't say there was any wound, okay? And the next time I came down the street, the exact same street.
What street was it?
That was Akron. Yeah.
Okay.
I heard her say, "That's the guy," to a friend that I had there, David, who is no longer my friend, I guess. And he said that he has seen me walk in the area without a leash all the time. And I didn't know, well, I still don't know, that her dog was bitten. And
did you see
when I
these,
came down...
Did you see these pictures?
Yeah.
It looks like a dog bite. It looks like a bite at any rate.
I think I would have seen that when it happened. Okay. And
when did you have these pictures taken?
When?
Yes, when?
Oh, within a couple days, I took them in the living room.
All right. And where's your dog now?
The dog is dead.
What did the dog die of?
Cancer.
How old was the dog?
Probably, she was just adopted by us before this happened, and so we'd only had her like a month. She might have been 8 or 9 years old. She was an older.
Okay. Were you there when the dog was bitten?
Yeah, I was walking her.
Was his dog on a leash?
No.
Now, he says
because I was in the street, it was a narrow sidewalk, and so I took it out, I went over the side of the street, and he kept coming down with his dog, and I was pulling Sheila, walking along, and his came over and bit her. And I said, "Put your dog on a leash, put your dog on a leash." And because you get really upset when it was dark.
Did he have a leash with him?
I don't know, it was dark. It was 10 o'clock at night. And I don't know if he had a leash with him, but his dog was hanging on mine. He pulled her off.
How was the lighting there?
Dark. I couldn't see.
You couldn't see?
You couldn't see whether he had a leash or not. It happened really
then
fast.
How can you, if you couldn't see whether he had a leash or not, how can you tell me that he didn't have a leash?
Because the dog came over and bit her.
Well,
I was out in the street.
I have cases involving dog bites all the time, and both dogs are on leashes. So you can't, that's not an answer.
Well, the dog was off a leash.
You say there was a witness there?
No, it was later on that he talked to my friend and said.
Who talked to your friend?
Mr. Briller, about the dog not being on the leash that night.
Do you have your friend's affidavit?
Yes.
Where is it? Did you see this affidavit, sir?
yes, I would like to make a comment on that.
Go ahead.
I used to be very friendly with the witness. He has a dog too, and we always used to talk. But when I came down the hill about 4 days after this incident, my dog was on a leash. I knew nothing about a bite. And the two of them, to be honest with you, intimidated me. He was yelling, "You have to do it." And I kept saying, "What have you got to do with this? You hadn't even been there." So he said, "She's like a mother to me." Okay? So that's the type of witness you have. And she was waiving the bills all the time, saying, "I'm going to take you to court, I'm going to take you to court." And when she mentioned the amount of the bill, it was a lot higher than what you've got there, because there were a lot of other things that she included in it.
What else did she include in it?
I don't know. He was shampooed and had his nails done. And
Well, there apparently were no charge for those things. Teeth cleaning.
yes, but when I first saw her, those charges were in the amount she told me. It was way over $300.
Is that right?
I didn't have the bills by then anyway. And I didn't expect to run into him. I wouldn't have had them to wave in front of him that evening. And I told him that I called him, and then he came over to my house and wrote a check for $85. And I said, at that time it had gone to $185. And then these other things came up afterwards because the dog had to go back to the vet.
I gather your witness was not there on the night this happened, right?
No, he was not. I was by myself.
Take a short recess. I'll come back and give you my decision.
Remain seated and come to order. This court is again in session.
Plaintiff having brought this case, she has to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that the defendant was negligent or that he didn't have his dog on a leash, thereby violating a statute. What does preponderance of the evidence mean? It means that you have to have a little bit more evidence than the other fellow. 49.9 against 50.9, perhaps. Does that add up to 100? I'm not sure, but anyway, it's a little more. You got to just barely tip the scales. The question then becomes really, was the defendant's dog on a leash? Several things that I look to. First of all, the plaintiff says that the defendant's dog was not on a leash. And then when I asked her, how does she know this? And she said the light wasn't good. It was 10 o'clock at night, and she couldn't see. So she didn't see whether the dog was on a leash or not. We have an affidavit from the plaintiff's witness that 2 days after the incident, he talked to the defendant. The defendant admitted that this dog was not on a leash. Now, the affidavit is admissible in small claims court, but nevertheless, it's still hearsay. You can't cross-examine an affidavit. And therefore, while I accept it, I don't give it that much weight. In addition, the leash that the defendant is using now looks like it's been worn quite a bit and used quite a bit. Therefore, he must use that leash to walk the dog a great deal. And once you get used to having a dog on a leash, it's not likely that you'll let it off. I think that it's very clear that the plaintiff has not proven by a preponderance of the evidence that the defendant was negligent. Therefore, I'm not going to go into the damage issue. Judgment is for the defendant.
I think it's totally unfair, and I'm not going to stay for any more interview. It's too bothersome. It's just beyond my belief that my dog could have gotten bit like that, and it's not his dog's fault. So it's best that I just leave.
Well, I guess if I was in her shoes, I'd say the same thing because it was her dog. But as far as I'm concerned, and the reason I came to the court is because I knew I was in the right, and there's nothing more I can say.